You are sitting in a football association office in Milan. It is December 1929. An envelope arrives from Montevideo. Inside is an invitation to the first World Cup, the tournament FIFA has been promising for 2 years. You unfold a map. Uruguay is on the other side of the planet, a 2-week voyage each way. Your best players are club professionals who need their jobs in February. And here is the insult on top. Italy, Spain, Sweden, and the Netherlands all wanted to host. FIFA gave it to a nation of 2 million on the Rio de la Plata instead. You are not declining because you hate football. You are declining because going feels absurd, and staying home feels like the only dignified option. Half of Europe agrees with you. Here's the paradox. The World Cup was invented to prove football belonged to the world. The first one almost proved it belonged to South America alone. Football already had a global stage. The Olympics. At Amsterdam in 1928, Uruguay beat Argentina in the final. Europe watched, nodded, and assumed the next great tournament would be played somewhere a train could reach. Then came the vote in Barcelona in May 1929. Uruguay won hosting rights unanimously, backed by Olympic glory and a promise to pay every team's travel and lodging. The nations that lost the bid did not graciously wish them luck. Italy pulled out, Spain pulled out, Sweden and the Netherlands, who had campaigned together, walked away. Hungary refused to enter in protest. The boycott was not a coincidence. It was wounded pride wearing the mask of logistics. So why did half of Europe really boycott the first World Cup? Not one reason. A stack of excuses that happened to align. Here's the thing most people never consider. The boycott was also a referendum on whether South America counted as the center of the football world or the edge of it. European administrators had spent decades treating the game as theirs to define. Professional leagues in Argentina and Uruguay were decades ahead of the Olympic amateur model. When FIFA handed the inaugural tournament to Montevideo, the subtext was unmistakable. The future of football might not run through London or Rome. England was not even a FIFA member and rejected a personal invitation in November 1929. Germany, Austria, Czechoslovakia, and Switzerland cited club schedules. Poland, Norway, and others followed. By February 1930, not one European nation had confirmed. Out of 25 European FIFA members, the head count heading to Uruguay was 0. Then the second layer, money and time. The Wall Street crash landed in October 1929. Sending a squad across the Atlantic during the Great Depression was not a sporting decision. It was a boardroom nightmare. Club owners would not release players for up to 2 months. Ship fares were real. Careers were fragile. Uruguay offered to pay, and Europe still said no. That is how you know this was never only about cost. It was about whether the trip was worth dignifying. The third layer is what almost killed FIFA itself. South American federations took the European silence as a personal insult. Argentina led threats to break away and form a Pan-American federation, a World Cup without Europe permanently. Jules Rimet, the French president of FIFA, understood the danger immediately. A global tournament with no Europeans was not global. It was a regional cup with ambitions. He got on ships and begged. France came as a favor to him. Belgium came through Vice President Rodolphe Seeldreyers. Romania came because King Carol II picked the squad and guaranteed every player's job. Yugoslavia only agreed because they could share the boat. 4 teams out of 25. That is not participation. That is diplomatic damage control. 13 nations played in Uruguay, 7 from South America. The European 4 arrived on the same liner seasick and undertrained, while the hosts had been preparing at home for months. European newspapers treated the tournament as a curiosity and was too far away to matter. The rest of the world was building something Europe had chosen to miss. The threshold came 4 years later. Italy hosted the 1934 World Cup. 16 nations applied. Qualifying rounds had to be invented because too many wanted in. The boycott did not age well. It turned out Europe did not skip the World Cup on principle. Europe skipped it once, when someone else got to host first. But here's what the boycott cost that nobody puts on a plaque. The first World Cup's mythology became South American forever. The final was Uruguay against Argentina, a rivalry that did not need European validation. European absence sharpened it. For years afterward, the old continent called the whole thing a sideshow. Easier than admitting they had missed the birth of the biggest event in sport. If you want more stories about how the things we take for granted almost never happened, subscribe.